Good evening, this is the Northern Sun Experience. I'm David Brown, and the stage is set for the Battle of the Best. Minnesota Duluth and Minnesota State both entered the second round of the D2 football playoffs with perfect records. The Mavericks were 11-0, having received a bye in the first round. Meanwhile, the Bulldogs were coming off a wild finish and a 25-21 come-from-behind victory against Northwest Missouri State. UMD's next test would come in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, as they took on the number one seed in Super Region 3, Washita Baptist, and the Tigers would get off to a quick start. Steven Keener busts through the line, and he is gone. 57 yards to the house, and it's 7-0 just like that. But the Bulldogs strike right back on the ensuing kickoff. Bo Bofferding takes it at his own 3, finds some room off the left side, and he's got blockers. 96 yards, he'll eventually get tackled just shy of the goal line at the 1. A short Logan Louders touchdown makes it 7-7, and believe me, the scoring was far from over. Keener with a great spin move and another touchdown, this one from 30 yards out, 14-7 Tigers. But Louders says, anything you can do, I can do better. He runs straight through a mass of bodies en route to a 29-yard touchdown. 14-14, Keener and Louders are tied. Late in the second, Bulldogs on the move again. Drew Bauer finds Aaron Roth, who spins away from one tackler and gets all the way down to the 5. That set up Louders' third touchdown, 21-14 UMD at halftime. Third quarter, the Keener and Louders show continues to go back and forth. This time it's Keener wide open on the left side, 41-yard pitch and catch. We're tied at 21. Fast forward to the fourth, Drew Bauer to the right of center, but Louders takes the direct snap, pitches to Bo Bofferding on the end around, and he gets around to the end zone. 7-yard score makes it 35-27 UMD. But the eye of the Tiger and the thrill of the fight was far from over. Keel Frazier to Drew White, 31 yards, cuts it to 35-33. Later in the fourth, Keener scores his 5th touchdown of the game. Tigers retake the lead 39-35. Yet the Bulldogs mount a last-minute drive. Bauer to Zach Zweifel, 11 yards, keeps his toes in bounds, 42-39 with 45 seconds to go. But the Tigers march right down the field and hit this 20-yard field goal. We're going to overtime tied at 42. In the extra frame, the Tigers hit another field goal to go ahead 45-42. Now it's UMD's turn, and watch this. The jet sweep handoff to Zweifel, who throws back to Bauer for the win. A perfect pass beats the fantastic coverage, and the Bulldogs celebrate another thriller, 48-45 in overtime. Well, it'll be hard to top the excitement of that game, but Minnesota State and Pittsburgh State would certainly try. First quarter, Austin Ryder gets the short pass, and despite getting wrapped up, he never hits the ground. 30-yard touchdown, great awareness by Ryder, 7-0 Mavs. 7-3 now in the second when the Gorillas take the lead. Gavin Lutman gets the tip pass and muscles his way into the end zone. 10-7 Pittsburgh State at halftime. Third quarter, Mavericks take the lead right back. Ricky Lloyd to Dorian Buford, 34 yards, 14-10, Minnesota State back on top. The Gorillas' field goal cuts it to 14-13 in the fourth, but the Mavs push it to 8 after this 2-yard run by Lloyd on the read option, 21-13. Gorillas get within 21-19 later in the fourth, then Robert McField gets the 2-point conversion. We're tied at 21 heading to overtime. Mavs get the ball first and get a 29-yard field goal from Alvin Hafar to make it 24-21. Pittsburgh State's turn now. Anthony Abadoja goes for the win on the very first play, and he gets the loss instead as Tyler Henderson picks off the underthrown ball, and Minnesota State wins a thriller of its own, 24-21 over Pittsburgh State. So after a couple of nail-biting overtime victories, 2 NSIC teams with a combined 25-0 record will meet for the Super Region 3 Championship. Saturday, December 6th at 12 p.m. in Mankato, it's the 4th seed 13-0 Minnesota Duluth taking on the number 2 seed 12-0 Minnesota State. The winner will advance to the D2 semifinals, the final 4 of the postseason. We'll have complete highlights and a reaction on next week's episode of the Northern Sun Experience. Well, Mary's football team failed to reach the playoffs this season, but the Marauder offense definitely clicked on all cylinders. That's thanks in large part to senior L.B. Pope, who led the NSIC in both receiving and all-purpose yardage in 2014. But as Marissa DiCandido explains, Pope's progression from high school through Mary will leave a lasting impression on the Marauder program.
During his 4 years at the University of Mary, LB Pope proved he could do it all on the football field. But he wasn't always that way.
I never really played in pads, in actual football pads, until my freshman year in high school. And I didn't know what I was doing. Coaches were telling me, run this route, run that route. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He told me to even tuck the ball, and I was like, do what with the ball? I didn't know what was going on. I even, I put my girdle on wrong and whatnot.
Pope has come a long way since then. He's now the Marauders' career leader in receiving yards and receptions, but those records didn't come easily.
You work your butt off, in the weight room, in the classroom, and even in meeting rooms, everything just comes so quick. It came so quickly. I didn't know exactly. Sometimes, like my redshirt freshman year, I didn't know exactly what was going on. Coach asked me, like, do you know what this play is? I was like, no, and he's like, then you can step in the sideline, and then I knew that at that time I need to get to know my stuff.
Pope proved he knew his stuff by the end of his senior year, but when schools were recruiting him in high school, most overlooked him as a wideout.
Every other school that was being recruited by, like Minot State, Bemidji State, all wanted me at cornerback. And so did NDSU UND, but I wanted to play wide receiver. It was always a big thing for me to play wide receiver. I was really good at corner, but I just loved being a wide receiver on offense. And UMary is the only place recruiting me for wide receiver.
And it's a good thing they did.
Well, I think anytime just leading by example, when you have a player with a little bit of talent like LB has, a positive attitude, a real love to play the game, a real good teammate who works hard and does what's asked of him. I think when you're a senior and a captain in particular, that really has kind of a magnifier effect on other players in the program, I hope.
Just the coaches, they've taught me so much, and the actual game and being a Marauder football player has just taught me, how to control my anger, how to be a man about certain things.
Pope's football career as a Marauder may be over, but his name will stay forever in the record books.
When we come back, Southwest Minnesota State Volleyball is gearing up for the Elite Eight in Kentucky. We preview the Mustangs' championship aspirations next.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. After a nearly 2-week layoff, the Southwest Minnesota State volleyball team will finally get its chance to hit the hardwood. The Mustangs square off with Sonoma State College out of California Thursday afternoon at the NCAA Elite Eight in Louisville, Kentucky. SMSU has certainly been tested on its journey to this point. The Mustangs topped the 7-time defending national champions from Concordia St. Paul in the Central Region semifinals before knocking off top-seeded Minnesota Duluth in the region championship.
We need to enjoy it, but at the same time we need to understand our season's not done, and there's still plenty of season left to play, and it's an important part of the season.
We did accomplish something great getting out of our region, but we're not done yet. I mean, there's definitely a chance that you can win the championship, and we can't just settle for what we accomplished already so far.
It's the furthest the program has gone in school history, and there's a real sense of optimism around Marshall. This team can go all the way.
We have good players now, but we have more balance than we've had, and I think that's made us harder to defend. Teams can't cheat on one hitter or cheat on a certain position, and I think that's a big part of it.
I definitely think that we can go all the way, and I think a lot of us know what it's going to take for us to do it, and it's just going to take everyone to encourage each other and to give everything they've got.
Now, should SMSU top Sonoma State on Thursday, they would face either Wingate or Grand Valley State in the semifinals on Friday the 5th. The national championship is on Saturday the 6th. We'll have highlights from the tournament on next week's episode of the Northern Sun Experience. Switching gears now to women's hoops, and conference play is just getting started. The University of Sioux Falls entered the NSIC part of the schedule with a perfect 4-0 record, winning by an average of 17 points per game. Their first test would come on the road at Southwest Minnesota State. First half, Coup working around as Taylor Varsho hits the three from the top of the key. She had a game-high 24. Mustangs would hang tough early, though, as Whitney Miller hits the baseline shot. She had 7, but USF was simply too much. Varsho gets the steal and leads the fast break. Some nice ball movement after things slowed down a little bit as Sam connects on the short jumper. She had 16, and USF tops SMSU 91-50. On Saturday, Winona State's women's team hosted Upper Iowa. First half, Warriors worked the fast break. Connor Nagel in transition finds Tara Roloffs for the basket. She had 10 on the evening. Second half, Peacocks try to keep it close as Emily Gustafson gets the basket inside, but Winona State would pretty much lead wire to wire. Nagel gets the steal and takes it in herself. She led the Warriors with 15 as they top Upper Iowa 85-69. Minnesota Crookston visited Bemidji State. This is the Beavers' Sierra Sensky somehow getting the layup to go plus the foul. She had 16. Back come the Golden Eagles. Ebony Livingston spots up in the left corner for 3. She had 15 on the night for Crookston, and they would continue to rain from outside as Ashley Martell hits the triple from the right elbow. Minnesota Crookston wins at Bemidji State 66-53. Minot State traveled south to take on U-Mary Saturday. First half, Brittany Dietz gets it down low for 2. The Marauders have a 9-point lead. Back come the Beavers. Deandra Denton drives inside to cut the lead to 5, but the Marauders would buckle down on both ends. Haley Hibbs gets the block on one end, and then she gets the assist later in the half. Nice feed to Hannah Larson for 2. A back-and-forth affair ends with a 1-point win for U-Mary over Minot State, 57-56. When we come back, we'll switch gears to men's basketball as they started getting deeper into the conference season.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Just like the women, men's basketball is also starting to get deeper into its conference schedule. Let's start in Winona, where the Warriors have high expectations after being selected 4th in the preseason coaches poll. They took on Upper Iowa at home, and early on, the Peacocks worked things from the outside. Jimmy Roth hits the triple, 3 of his team-high 18. Later in the half, it's Isaiah Gray somehow getting the reverse to go for Winona State. He had a career-high 29 points and 9 rebounds. Mark Blacklock had a season-high 19 for Winona as well, 2 on this dunk, as the Warriors topped the Peacocks 89-70. Crookston's women topped Bemidji State. Let's see how the men would do, and early on it's not well. Taylor Zimmerman finds Ben Best, who does nothing less. Hoop and the foul, Best had 9. Later in the half, Golden Eagles try to work the outside. John Hughes left home alone on this 3, but this one was all Beavers. Pat Fisher spins inside, fires the cross-court pass to Brock Lutz for 3. He had a game-high 15, as Bemidji State tops Minnesota Crookston 78-50. Minot State taking on U-Mary Saturday. This is Everett Robinson with the stop and pop for the Beavers. He had 19 on the night. Back come the Marauders. Jacob Velasco hits from the baseline. He had 10 off the bench for U-Mary. Second half, Marauders push the pace. Off the steal, it's Luke Scott with the lay, and that cuts the Beaver lead to 1. But Minot State would work things inside for the rest of the second half. Lamont Prosser with the bucket there as the Beavers defeat the Marauders 66-61. When we come back, our Under the Northern Sun feature spotlights the University of Sioux Falls.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. It's time for Under the Northern Sun, where we shine the spotlight on one of our member schools. Tonight, it's the University of Sioux Falls, where academics, athletics, and faith all come together.
You can just totally tell it's just a different atmosphere when you walk on this campus. Everyone is so welcoming. People actually knew my name, and I was a recruit, and I was like, how do you know who I am? And that was super awesome. So, and to this day, 4 years later, that's still how people are. So, I mean, it was real, and it's just awesome.
I was ready for an adventure, I guess you would say, in college. I wanted to kind of go away, but God kind of led me here, which I'm so thankful for, because I couldn't have asked for a better school, coaches, and a program. Really, all around what I wanted and what I needed was right here at USF.
I feel like the mentality of trying to be the best I can be academically and athletically isn't just for myself personally, but it's for a greater purpose, to glorify God and to serve others and to strive to be a model for other people to look up to and to be inspired by. That's kind of the whole idea that I've learned here at USF.
Well, certainly I believe that by virtue of these students competing as athletes, that is developing skills in them that are going to benefit them much beyond what they're doing on the court or wherever they're playing their sport. Leadership, initiative, this drive and determination, time management, those are skills that these athletes are going to have to master in order to be successful as an athlete as well as a student. In the midst of all of this is this faith component. And I just find it very gratifying to work at a university where I can be open in sharing my faith and responding to students' questions about faith.
Our professors are willing to pull for you and willing to kind of like take you under your wing, and they want you to exceed.
Coach Stugart, he always gives us little things in life that we can take from football, because we always say that there's more to life than football, and we all believe in that. And there's just things that our coach does that really has strived to make us better character people.
If you invest your time here and get involved in activities and leadership positions, then USF will invest itself right back into you, and you will have connections and relationships that will take you far in life. I truly believe that.
Everyone wants to help everybody else out, and we're all rooting for each other and want everyone to do their best that they can. So it's just a really tight-knit community with all the athletes and everybody in general, and just all the Cougars are just really close, and so that's great. I really like that.
There's two kinds of education, one that helps you make a living and the other that helps you learn how to live. When people find what God has called them to do, and they're not necessarily shouting it from the streets, this is what God's called me to do, but you see a peace in their life, you see an integration of faith and learning, and you see that they did find what they were supposed to be doing, but they get a stability to themselves and a rootedness, and then you know that something happened in those college years that made that possible. So again, not just about learning how to make a living, but learning how to live is what we strive to do.
Looking back from my freshman year to now, I'm so much more mature in my faith, in learning about just anything academically and athletically with golf. Just that experience here. And you're not doing it alone. You have 1,000 other people right beside you that you can look to for guidance.
When we come back, it's DBs Pics, my top 5 plays of the past week in the NSIC.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. It's time for the best of the best, the top 5 plays of the past week in the NSIC. And with apologies to the start of basketball season, this edition is pure pigskin. At number 5, we start in the Minnesota Duluth Wachita Baptist game, where Drew Bauer fakes everyone out on this trick play. The direct snap goes to Logan Louders, who pitches to Bo Bofferding on the end around for the score. Check it out again. Bauer pretends to call something near the line, yet the ball is hiked while Louders and Bofferding do the rest. Most weeks this play would be somewhere in the top 3, but after a wild playoff weekend, it'll have to settle for number 5. At number 4, we switch to our other playoff matchup as Minnesota State's Austin Ryder rides a Pittsburgh State player to gain some leverage to the end zone. Despite being wrapped up, Ryder never hits the ground and runs the rest of the way. Watch it in slow motion. Great awareness by Ryder to know that he wasn't tackled and that he could keep on moving. This 30-yard touchdown gave the Mavs an early 7-0 lead, but they would ride other big plays besides Ryder's to victory. For number 3, we go back to Arkansas, where the Bulldogs' Drew Bauer and Zach Zweifel were a precision pair. Zweifel hauls in this 11-yard touchdown, keeping his toes in bounds with 45 seconds to go in the game. That gave UMD a 42-39 lead over Wachita Baptist. They would eventually go to overtime, but the concentration, the placement of the throw, and the awareness to keep the toes in bounds are a trifecta that adds up to play number 3 of the past week. At number 2, we show off the Maverick defense as Tyler Henderson goes walk-off. This interception on Pittsburgh State's first play in overtime sealed Minnesota State's win. Check it out again, the pass is underthrown, and Henderson is right there to make the game-clinching play. The Mavericks advanced to the Super Region 3 Championship 24-21 with this play at number 2. But for number 1, we make our final switch back to Arkansas, where the Bulldogs' precision pair is added again, only this time it's reversed. Zach Zweifel takes the jet sweep and finds quarterback Drew Bauer on a perfect pass in the end zone for the walk-off touchdown in overtime. You can't replay this sequence enough. Washita Baptist lineman recovers pretty well and actually provides some great coverage, but there's no defense for the perfect throw. That pass ended a marathon of scoring, gave Minnesota Duluth a 48-45 upset win in overtime over the number 1 seed in the region, and provided the top play of the past week in the NSIC. Once again, a thank you to all NSIC member schools for contributing their time and video for this week's show. For all of us at Midco Sports Network, I am David Brown, and we'll see you next week on the Northern Sun Experience.